Hello everyone, it's Yingsu here, and I'm joined this week by Benkai from PaperX. Benkai, thank you very much for joining me. I'm very excited to speak to you. First of all, I gotta say, congratulations, you're going to Denmark. And the most important question, I think, is how are preparations going for your walkouts right now? Are you putting in a lot of effort?
Uh, I I would say I'm putting in the same amount of effort as I did with the other ones, but this time I'm actually like planning ahead as compared to like all the other events where it's kind of like spontaneous with what I come up with. But this one I'm like planning it a bit. So yeah.
Do you have anyone to help you? Is this like your ideas, you just write them down, or do you and your teammates or maybe your girlfriend like talk about what you're gonna do?
Uh, I had a bit of help this time, but the previous times it was all like me coming up with the ideas. But this time I had like people actually like suggesting stuff to me, like stuff that I should do. So it kind of made my job a bit easier.
What does your teammate think? Are they going to join you one day, or are they just like, that's Benkai's thing, we're just going to let him do it?
Oh my God, I don't know, man. I mean, last time when I did the bathrobe thing, Forsaken and Shiba joined me. So I'm pretty sure they'll be up to it if they want to join. So if they want to join, then they're free to join me if they want to.
Maybe we get a team one for you. But also, this time around, if you make it a little bit deeper in the competition, which I'm sure you will, there's going to be a crowd. So you're going to be doing your walk-ons in front of an audience. How are you feeling about that?
Ooh, I'm kind of excited, man. It's like kind of excited to see like how the crowd will react, hoping to bring some laughter there. But if I'm not wrong, I'm not sure at which stage do we play in front of the crowd, but we've already secured like top 8 with our seeding. So maybe we already are going to play in front of the crowd. So, you know,
You have to
yeah.
plan it already, yeah.
Yeah,
Um,
yeah.
I also want to ask you about the logistics because obviously at Iceland you did the one with the camera, like you pretended to be the
Oh yeah, yeah,
cameraman.
yeah.
So do you have to tell Riot like what you do beforehand? Do they have to like approve it, disprove it? And how did the conversation go from you wanting to do a walk on to them just giving you a camera and trusting you with it?
Okay, so typically I go through my ideas with our handler, Alex, the Opal. So he then asks Riot if it's okay for me to do the idea that I have, and then he gives me the green light for it. And I normally just ask him by just sending him like a GIF of like the idea that I have. So like the skateboard one, it was like a meme of the guy just running with the skateboard and not actually like riding it. So that was the only thing that I sent to Oppo that day. I was like, "Can I do this?" Then he's like, "Yeah, let me ask Riot real quick." So that's like that's how it typically goes. And as for the camera, uh, I had this like the documentary crew was following me around already, like filming me throughout like Iceland, and I just kind of like came up with the idea after which game was it? After the guard, if I yes, after the guard game, like I came up with the idea, and I basically asked them if I could borrow one of the cameras. And they were like, "Yeah, sure, we'll get you like the headset and the cables and everything too." Then I was like, "Great."
That was one of my favorites. Have you ever had an idea vetoed? Have you ever said something they're like, oh, we can't do that one?
Oh, I wouldn't say that they rejected any of my ideas yet because I kind of know where to like draw the line of being too obscene and it being actually funny. So far it's been like pretty. I've made Riot's lives pretty easy
Yeah.
with like my costumes and stuff.
Honestly, every time you and Boaster qualify for an event, I feel like the Riot content team are like, yes, like we got stuff now. Yes, they're both coming. We're gonna make our tournament good. In terms of your ideas in the past, has there been anything that you can tell me that you're not gonna do anymore? Like maybe you had an idea once and you're like, oh, I wanted to do that, but either I can't pull it off or like, oh, actually, I don't want to do this. Just so we can give people like an insight into where your mind is going.
Uh, so I had this one suggestion last during Iceland. It was pretty. I thought it was a pretty funny idea. It was basically I forgot the context of it, but it was basically just like it was two jerseys being cut in the middle and then being sewn back together. Remember that? Wait, I'm trying to remember like what was the
Wait,
context.
so like the Paper X jersey and someone else's jersey? You're gonna sew two different teams?
Yeah, if I'm but I completely forgot the context of it though, but I thought the idea was pretty funny and that was the only one that I felt like that's gonna be funny, but it's way too much effort to like cut a
Yeah.
jersey perfectly in half and like sew it back, you know.
Yeah.
Ah,
I think it'd be quite funny if you cosplayed as another player or like one of your teammates, or you just like
oh
pretended that you
no.
were Forsaken or something.
I wanted to be Mitch. So
Ah!
I was gonna get like a curly hair wig and then I'll get like the Hawaiian t-shirt. And
Oh
then
my god, he would love that. He would literally love that. Or just if you put a bold cap on, you can be like 50% of the people at LAN. Like there's gotta be another
through
bold player.
the bald buff, right? I can do
Yeah.
like Tom Biz and Mitch, like just do like a half.
Oh my god. Okay, I'm gonna tell them you said that that's gonna make their entire week. Onto something slightly more serious. Actually, onto something even less serious. Phoenix. In my region, in EMEA, it's considered a big troll. It's considered like this is unplayable. But in the other regions, especially in yours, it's a little bit different. You played Phoenix. I don't think people expected you, of all people, to play it. So talk me through if you feel like this was a legit strategy or were you guys trolling?
Yeah, I'm just gonna straight up say that we are actually just completely trolling this pick.
Oh, really?
Yeah, because like this one of the panelists had like a board with all the times that every agent was played and Phoenix was there with zero. Then I'm like, I'm not gonna let this happen to my boy Phoenix, man. So I'm just gonna like we are already like it was in the group stage and we were already guaranteed like first place. So it doesn't matter if we won or lost that match. So I was like, okay, I'm just gonna pick Phoenix and we're gonna have fun with it. So
Was
that's
it
what, yeah. So that's what I did, and I went to like find lineups and stuff on Breeze. Yeah, we played Phoenix on Breeze, and I had lineups with like the mollies and stuff. It was quite funny.
Yeah, I remember seeing you play it because Jake says it's viable on Breeze, and I've never believed him. So you guys kind of made his theory. You kind of backed him up there. Was it fun? Did you have fun? Would you play Phoenix again?
Yeah, I actually had tons of fun. Actually, I'm not gonna lie. I do agree with Jake to a certain extent that it's viable on Breeze. That's what my coach thinks as well.
Hmm.
And with like the new like proposed changes, right? I don't know if you saw, but the new changes to Phoenix are insane, man. His flashes are like instant now. So I'm actually gonna be pretty excited with how like pro teams are gonna try and bring him in. I don't think we'll see it anytime soon, but maybe by champions, like there'll be some teams actually running Phoenix.
Why you ahead of Jing and Forsaken? Because I feel like those two. If I had to pick someone that I expected to play, it would have been them.
Uh, I don't know. Like everyone sees Phoenix as a meme, you know, and I'm like the kind of guy that to actually like go for these kind of things. So I would actually let. I mean, Jing and Forsaken are like the backup plan in case the Phoenix fails, you know. So like I always have them to like close out the match if the Phoenix doesn't work.
Oh, okay. Actually, that's really smart. So like you can try new stuff, right? And you know that they're just gonna if it fails with you, it's not gonna fail with them if they're playing. Having said that, they play Reina and Yoru, so like
Yep.
we're getting to a point where it's just expect the unexpected with your team. Which is why I think it's interesting because you guys are very consistent this year. I think last year, I know you were really heartbroken about not being able to make one of the events. But this year you've made another one, which means you're definitely gonna make champions. So how does it feel to kind of get to a spot where you're the best, clearly the best team out of APAC?
Uh, Obviously it feels really I have like a great sense of achievement, I guess, because that was the team's goal for this year was to make it to all three of the events. And since we've accomplished that already, I feel like any result that we get after that is just gonna be like a bonus. And that's I feel like that's always been our approach to all of these events, you know. Our goal is just to make it there. Whatever result we get there, we'll just roll with it. And I feel like having that kind of mentality kind of sets us up for success, I would say, in a way. And also it helps us deal with the disappointment of getting knocked out a bit. better, I would guess, because we really accomplished our goal of getting there. So it doesn't really feel that bad if you get knocked out earlier, you know?
Yeah, it's not really a failure in your eyes, basically.
Yeah.
I will say though, because I think last tournament there was this big argument of like, we need to stop using the term minor region. Like, look at Zeta, look at Paper Rex. Like, all these teams are making tournaments consistently and getting really, really deep in the tournament. And I think going into this one, it might be a similar conversation. At what point do you feel like you're going to have a realistic chance of not just making it deep, but actually, winning the trophy there in Denmark?
Hmm. Uh, I feel like right now, with the way that Valorant is, there's not really a clear way of how the game should be played. Because you see all these teams from like NA and EMEA, they have sometimes completely different play styles, but somehow each region has won a major championship before. So I feel like right now the way to play Valorant is still very unclear. So until then, I feel like any region has the ability to go and win like a championship just based off how they think the game should be played.
I agree with you.
So
Yeah.
yeah, so right now it's really just whatever your team think will work and how you make it work.
I like that. I like that. I think you guys have a good chance. Everyone called me a troll when I said that you were gonna win Iceland, but afterwards everyone was like, "Yeah, she had a point. Paper X did really well." So I'm gonna come into this tournament and say this again. By the way, everyone's gonna expect me to say Fnatic, but I'm not doing that. When it comes to APAC as a region, I read a Twitter post recently, which isn't really related to you guys, but it was one of the casters in APAC talking about how they were being mistreated and how the salaries, at least for casters, were really, really low compared to other regions and compared to other games, even. Do you have any experience of that? Not you specifically, but just maybe other players that you know of, other organizations. Obviously, X10, that was a whole mess when
Yeah.
that was happening. Do you think there is a problem with maybe professionalism or salaries in APAC?
Right now, I would say it's not as big of a problem as it was last time. So right now I would say that it's improved already by quite a lot. And you start to see more teams with like strong foundations. And but the sad part is that you still get like a lot of organizations that, offer their players basically like peanuts for salaries. So it's always gonna be there, in APAC. It's always gonna be a thing. Because I don't know. I think right now in Valorant, it's not really as big as in other regions. So maybe like all these organizations are really like still a bit scared to put their foot in with like how much they should be paying their players. So it kind of just feels like they end up mistreating their players more often than not.
Do you think do you think that is happening with a lot of teams in APAC, or is that a few teams? Because obviously, when we heard the X10 issue, again, I'm not 100% sure what's true and what's not true because there's so many different sides of the story. But X10 was like a team that was qualifying for international lands, right? So you don't expect those teams to be mistreating their players.
Yeah, the sad reality is you just don't really know with like the owners of like organizations. So there's always gonna be like a cloud of uncertainty when you sign with like a new organizations whom you don't really know who's in charge and stuff, and you just are kind of expected to just trust them with your basically your livelihood. And when it doesn't work out, it's just very sad to see with how like I mean X10 is yeah, X10 I would say X10 right now is like the best example of this in APEC.
Is it a just to be a full-time Valorant player, professional Valorant player in that region? Obviously, there's a lot of different countries in APAC. I know your country is particularly expensive with like living expenses. Would you say it's a realistic and good career choice? Because obviously in North America, like being a pro player, you earn a lot of money. You have so many viewers when you stream, so it is a really nice career. Would you say it's the same right now in APAC?
I wouldn't compare it on the same level as like America, but I would say that it's becoming more and more of a possibility of having this as a full-time like job because the salaries are getting like more and more, how would I put this? Uh
Competitive? Like acceptable?
okay, I would say acceptable for a comparing like an adult with like a diploma.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so I would compare the salaries on that kind of level, but it's nowhere near as much as like how much the Americans make. But I would still say that it is for me personally, I think my salary right now is more than enough for me to be living comfortably.
Oh, that's really good to hear. Because I hate
Yeah.
the, whenever you hear stories, like horror stories of other players, it's pretty shitty. But I'm another reason why I love Paper X. Good org. But on like a brighter note, and on in terms of talent from APAC, because the thing that really frustrates me is that it's given how little financial investment APAC has compared to like EMEA and NA, the talent is still the same, right? It's not like you guys have worse players just because you don't have many opportunities. And there's so many good players from APAC. Sometimes I watch like a random qualifier game or group stage game, and I'm sat here like, who is this person? Like, why are they dropping like 45 kills? But do you see a future where more APAC players go to EMEA or North America, or do you feel like the region is now stable enough to grow? And second part of this question, have you had an offer to come to EMEA or NA?
Okay, I'll answer the first part first,
Okay.
which is as of this moment, I would see NA and EU importing players from this region right now because I don't think that it's developed enough for a like homegrown region kind of APAC kind of specific team right now. And uh and I just think that whatever NA and EU has to offer in terms of livelihood and salaries is gonna be much more attractive than whatever APAC is going to be able to offer you. But I feel like that could change with franchising next year, right? So it's kind of exciting to see how that in which direction that's gonna go in terms of like the APAC region. But on the same page, I think APAC is gonna start importing more NA and EU talent, and maybe even from other regions, because I mean Bleed Esports really took the first step
Yeah.
with Pith and Maxi, and they've been getting like pretty decent results. So I feel like it's gonna be more and more of a trend in the upcoming months. And as for the second part, no, no one has asked me if I wanted to like ask yet. Yeah, but I
Would you leave if any did come and knock on your door? Because esports, especially Valorant, is more than just competition, right? It's branding as well, and I think you have one of the best brands out of everybody right now. You're definitely up there. So maybe for franchise it could not come knocking, but would that be something that you would consider?
I've thought about this, and I'm a pretty realistic person, and I've told myself that right now I don't think that I'm good enough to be picked up by like an NA or EU kind of org. So I've been trying to work on myself and like try to get better as a player. So, but as of right now, I don't think I'm ready to be picked up like a NA or EU organization. But I've also told myself that I'll be more than happy with just like staying in Paper X because I'm pretty comfortable with the way that they're treating me, and it's a pretty rare occurrence to be able to receive this kind of like treatment in like a gaming organization, I feel. That's why I feel like Paper X is my home right now.
Oh, that's so sweet. But also, I feel like you guys as a team is, I don't know. I get the, like, you know how like Mech Gambit, them as a team, that you just get that feeling of like, this is why this team works. Like if you take away one of the players, two of the players, replace them with someone, it doesn't really feel the same. So that's why I think I love your team so much because you guys have all the components and the personality, and the collective mind to troll everybody. But yeah, maybe one day, like you said, like the players can move around, franchise would be interesting, and you never know how your life will change once you win that trophy. Like if you win this trophy, like no one knows what's going to happen, especially with franchise. Which brings me up to the last question I have for you is Copenhagen is coming up. A lot of returning teams, people you played against before, people you haven't, also new faces. Who are you most looking forward to playing and why?
Mm. I want to play the current. I mean, I don't know if this is like an obvious answer or anything, but I want to play Fnatic right now. Just just because of how they've been. Because I've been keeping up with the entire like EMEA, like the challenger stage, and I feel like Fnatic has been playing like the best Valorant that I've seen in a while, and it's very like theoretically sound. And I just want to know like how what it's like to play against that kind of play style, like because I think that they're peak right now, and I just want to see if my team will be able to like punch a hole through it, you know?
I mean, your playstyles are very different, so I want to kind of watch it as well. Because in EMEA, there's a lot of teams that kind of do a little bit what Fnatic do or try, and then there are some teams that are a little bit more like you, but there's no teams that's really like you. I feel like other teams are probably looking at you in a similar way. Like, oh, I wonder if we could actually do something against Paper X. Because I have heard Jake say that every time you guys boot camp and scrim against each other, it usually goes in your way. Like you guys usually win those scrims.
Uh, I mean, we have a reputation for being like only good in scrim, so I wouldn't be that surprised like either. But my defense is that we are only sometimes we hit the craziest levels, like our craziest peaks in scrims, which unfortunately sometimes most of the time cannot translate into real matches, but we try our best to.
Yeah, and it's always a pleasure to watch you guys do that. Thank you so much, Benkai, for joining me, and I'll see you in Denmark.
Thank you. I'll see you in Turkey as well.